Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new and exciting episode related to podcast and under the UDAAN program conducted by Samadhaan Life Sciences. This is an initiative taken by Samadhaan Life Sciences in which we guide young minds towards global career opportunities. So today we are extremely delighted to have with us Cheshta, an Arturo Falashi PhD fellow at ICGEB. You might be knowing about ICGEB, International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, and she is working in Trieste, Italy. So her research basically focuses on tumor virology, specifically on HPV oncoproteins and CRISPR-Cas9 genome editing strategies. So Cheshta's journey from her early research experiences in India, including patent work in biotechnology and biofertilizers to secure one of the world's most prestigious international fellowships, is nothing short of inspiring. That is why we have invited Cheshta for this UDAAN podcast program, so that she can answer to your queries, so that she can tell you that what you should expect or how you can apply to not only Arturo Fellowship, but apart from that, other fellowships as well. And what should you expect from such abroad opportunities? So, welcome, Cheshta. It's a pleasure to have you with us on this UDAAN podcast.
Uh, Thank you so much, Dr. Neelabh, for inviting me, and thank you so much for this very kind introduction for yours. Thank you so much.
So, Cheshta, before I go deeper into the podcast, I would want you to tell the audience about your academic journey and how you became interested in tumor biology.
So basically, I have done my master's and graduation in microbiology, and I am from Amity University. So first thing is that there is a perspective that people coming from private university are not very productive. So that's not true always. So I did my graduation and post graduation both from Amity, and I pursued microbiology as my core interest because I was always interested in this microbiology world because we all know how important they are. So I pursued my graduation over that, and over the period, I realized that I really want to pursue my career in research. So, and my master was in the COVID duration, so not much options were there to to do internship and explore options so that you can continue whatever you want to do in the future. So at that point of time, I was doing internship in my department only, which specialized in plant microbial interaction. So for a year, I worked in the plant microbial interaction field where, under the guidance of my supervisor, we filed 3 patents, which is very important for everyone. I will say for every student who is either in their bachelor's or in their master's, they should really work on developing the skills, because it is really important. Because it's true that your learning age ends at masters. No, when you are going for PhD or something, people don't expect you to not knowing basic techniques. So this exposure is really important. So I did my internship for 1 year in the plant microbial field, and while doing that, I realized that maybe I would like to change my field to cancer biology, because that's the most interesting field for myself, because I want to work in that direction. So for after completing my internship for my post graduation, I then again shifted my field to cancer biology, and I worked in that field for 1 year, where I was working on hepatocellular carcinoma, and I learned the basic cell culture techniques and basic techniques which you need to work in the field of cancer biology or tumor virology. So that's a brief of my background, which can help people know.
Wow. So, first thing is that you said that you belong or you studied from a private university. So this is a
Yes.
big thing that you mentioned, because many students come to me saying that I belong to a private university. Does that mean I cannot apply to abroad programs, or does that mean I would be seen at a lower level as compared to people belonging to IITs or NITs? So you answered it very well. So now people you would have heard from her directly that if you belong to a private university, does not matter. What exactly matters is your skills. So
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you should develop your skills, all the skills, basically the primary techniques that are useful in biotechnology should be developed at an early stage, as she said,
Yeah.
in bachelor's as master's level. So you said that you have worked in diverse areas like cancer biology, molecular biology, biotechnology. So how did this experience of working in so many fields influence your current research direction?
Basic. See, the thing is that when you work in such fields, you develop skills, which is
Mm,
really very important. So when you are in a research environment, you have to clear your basics. And no matter, see, it's good to read, but it is only fruitful when you have a knowledge of practical application. So we read a lot of things about PCR, Western blot, cell culture techniques, how we treat bacteria on plate or cells on plate,
mm,
but it is only useful when you know actually how you are doing it. And somewhere I feel that this is one of the disadvantages we have, that we don't get such level of exposure from our graduation level. That's what I feel. Maybe not true, some people do get it, but for me, from my graduation or post graduation thing, not all students are learning PCR. Okay, you do, but then you should understand how you are designing your experiment. What do you want to
mm,
see? So how you are going to use that technique to set up
mm,
your experiment, to read the results, which is really very important. And that's how these internships which I did, the skills I learned, they helped me to shape my experiment and to understand, in okay, if I'm getting this result, so which direction I should pick to
mm,
investigate further. So these
mhm.
experiences will help you a lot, and that's how they helped me. So whatever I
Okay.
learned in the internship where I worked on hepatocellular carcinoma per se, it really helped me to figure out, okay, this is the direction I want to chase. Maybe I want to focus more on biochemistry or protein structure or genome editing, or
Mm.
I want to focus more on immunology. So this you will learn while you're doing your internship. You will pick your desired field. So that's how it helps you. And that's
So
how it
this is
helps
in
me.
yeah, this is an exact contradiction to what I hear from people. People, they do not want to change their field. Suppose they are interested in immunology in their bachelor's, they will want to pursue the same field or do the same dissertation or project in immunology itself, and then again pursue their PhD also in immunology. So that is the way in which career progresses over here in India. So you did a
Mhm.
fabulous job, a courageous step. Basically, you explored so many diverse areas. So tell me one thing. I mean, does it look good on your profile that you have been exploring so many areas in abroad? What is the perspective about this? Suppose I have done my internship in my masters in, let us say, immunology, and suddenly I'm not interested in immunology and I want to work in, let us say, ecology. So will people welcome me in their lab if I do not have that background?
What I believe is transferable skills. So no matter you have worked in my case, I
Mm,
literally learned everything from scratch. Cell plating the cells. I mean, it is different. You are
mm,
plating human cells, then you are different
yes.
from plating bacterial cells. Staining is different. Everything is different. But
Mm,
what is important is how well you can use the techniques you learn in your previous internship or field. How can transfer it to the next whatever field you are changing. So transferable skills are very important. So for me,
yes.
uh, I mean, it doesn't matter if you are changing your field. It's like how well you can adapt. A, B, you are a fast learner. C, this. I mean, for example, CRISPR-Cas9 protein is same. Like, sorry, the
Mm-hmm.
technique is same. Protein is different,
Mm-hmm.
but you know the basic, right? You can do optimization here and there, and you are on your track. It's not like you have to literally go back to square zero, which is also not bad. So it doesn't really look bad on your CV. It's a time of skill. The time is changing. It depends on your skill. Even if you go in industry, they won't look that you okay, you have worked on plants, then you change to the cancer biology, now you want to leave your research, you want to come to the industry. How well,
Mm-hmm.
like, it depends on the command, how well you are commanded to your skills. People are
Yes.
getting hired even for confocal microscopy. As say, nobody can,
Mm,
like, nobody knows how to handle confocal microscopy well, but the person who knows how to handle can go anywhere. So what I feel is focus on your skill, like do your best, whatever you're doing, just excel in that field. It's very
Correct,
simple.
correct. Whatever you are doing, you should be best in that, and
Exactly.
you would do good. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now coming to Arturo Falashi Fellowship, very very prestigious fellowship. That is how I got to know about you, because I receive a lot of questions about this particular fellowship, and I wanted someone who can highlight about this, that how should people apply to this. So coming about the main thing. So many students know about this fellowship. People know that it is a very very prestigious fellowship. Apart from that, people also know that it is a what do you say, highly competitive fellowship. So could you explain what it is and what it makes, why this program is basically so prestigious?
As you say that, as you already mentioned, Arturo Falaschi is one of the prestigious fellowship, and ICGEB itself, it is a United Nations funded lab.
Mm.
So it's a very international setup, and maybe people also know that one of the ICGEB lab is also in Delhi, JNU. It is affiliated with JNU. So every year that, like, it is announced in the month of November, and the deadline is 31st of March, and you will get your results by the month of July. You should get it by June or July. And it is like, for example, in my case, I was interested in cancer biology. So, and I got to know about ICGB through social media only, because I was I didn't had that much exposure. So whatever I get to know is by social media without any guidance and all that stuff. So what I knew is that when you are going through profiles of scientists, you will get an idea what they are doing, what skills you will learn if you do the PhD under the supervisor. So I saw my professor's profile. My professor is Dr. Lawrence Banks, and I know he's one of the good scientists in the field of HPV. So when you go through the profiles, you will get an idea what they are doing, what proteins they are looking for, and read about it and start designing a project. That's where experience comes from, the internships you are doing. It will help you to analyze. For example, for my project, I know that HPV targets a lot of proteins during cell cycle. For example, P53 and PRB, they are the most common tumor suppressor, most common proteins which are mutated in cancers. So I know that maybe what I can do is that during cell cycle, let us identify if there are any other novel protein targets of HPV, and maybe let's start investigating it, and maybe we will get another good protein which we can target and which can help in developing vaccines or drug discoveries, which can, so that's what you learn. So that's how you should approach. It's not just about this professor, anyone whom you are pitching to. Go through their profiles, design a project. We all of them know that we are still in masters. We are not very expert. So it's fine. Even if it is a basic project, it is fine. But at least design it. So, and just pitch it to the PI. Send them emails, send your project, send your CV, and have a conversation with them. And I know it is not easy. In my case, it was like more than 100 of emails to different professors worldwide, and half of them don't reply. It's fine, it's okay. And it's just like getting difficult, and some of the times they don't have position, some of the time responses are negative. It is fine, it's not your downfall. Just don't get demotivated from that. You just need that one response, right? So you just draft the project and go through the profile and just keep pitching. And once you have a
Okay.
conversation with that, because in my case, when I had interview with my professor, he wasn't really focusing on how well I designed the project. He was focusing on how I read about HPV, what do I think, what skills I have. Tell you what, I don't knew anything about CRISPR, how to do it. Absolutely zero knowledge. Didn't knew about, because the lab in which I'm working right now, it's more biochemistry than molecular biology. We focus more on protein interaction, cloning, and it was new for me. So it is fine. You just don't have to get overwhelmed from all these techniques you are reading about. Just, even they will judge you on the basis of your critical thinking ability and
Okay.
your skills. If you want to work hard, they will accept you. That's how it goes. And that's how I get a position here. And I guess I got it from Israel and Texas as well. But I
Wow.
chose ICGEB over that. because for
Great,
me it is.
great. Very nice. You gave very important points on what people should focus upon. So one quick thing is that when are this fellowship is announced? In which month? Do you have any idea of that?
The basically they announce it in month of November,
Okay.
and
So
your deadline is 31st March. So
okay. So
yeah,
how does it go about it? I mean, you apply to this particular fellowship, and then you have to choose mentor
no, 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 no,
yourself.
no. Actually, you pitches to PI.
Mm-hmm.
You fill the form later because you need a letter of acceptance from the PI so that you can fill the form.
Okay.
Then the competition starts. They will screen your
Oh.
application from the applications which are filed on the website. So
Okay.
you pitch to PI, you write a project. In my case, that's how it happened. I pitched to my PI. He read my emails, he read my project. We discussed over a Zoom call, and he liked it, so he gave me a letter of acceptance. And then I filed and then I filled my application form. And then
Okay.
then they will shortlist the candidates and give the fellowship.
Okay, so until and unless you do not have a letter of recommendation from
Yeah,
a scientist, you cannot apply,
you
right?
cannot. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, okay. So how, I mean, what would you suggest to students that how far in advance should people start looking for PIs? In your case, how many days did you
It took
take in
me,
all this process?
I'm not going to lie, it took me 1 year.
Oh,
Yeah, because I don't want to give a false narrative. I was doing my internship in the hepatocellular carcinoma field. I guess I was doing it in 2021. I started from 2021, literally. So it's like you manage your internship, you're learning things there, then you are reading papers, you are reading the projects, you are pitching to PIs, and n number of PIs you pitch, and
Mhm.
you don't know who is going to reply, to whom you are going to get accepted, right? So I started in 2022, and luckily by 2023 everything got finalized. So I got my
Wow, I mean,
result
it takes
2023
a lot of
August.
time.
Yeah. See, the thing is, competition is tough. I don't know how, students assume this thing that some of them, not all, we don't want to do PhD in India, which is fine. But, work on your skills. Nothing is easy nowhere. And especially now we all are aware that things are getting changed, especially in USA. So that now there is more flow and more saturation.
Yes.
Don't get just overwhelmed from all these things. Just work on your skills, because even if you don't have any publication, it is fine, it is not mandatory, but what you
Mhm.
have is skills.
Okay. Yes, correct. So skills is what would take you abroad. So this is the
Exactly.
most important thing. In the paper or the manuscript published or not published does not matter much. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it will
could you
it
please?
will stand out if you have any publication. In my
Mhm.
case, I guess because I had 3 patents, it helped me. But it's but
You had
again,
3 patents?
yeah, I have filed
Wow.
3 patents, but then again, they are plant based, plant research,
Mhm.
and I'm going to
Yes.
work in cancer biology field. It's different, but what maybe it helped me that it made me sound dedicated.
Yeah.
My PI can tell, but yeah, just just prove that you can work. That's it. That's all matters.
You have a fabulous CV. 3 patents is something really big that you've achieved in a short span of your research career.
Thank you
Congratulations
so much.
again. Yeah. Could you tell me about the documents that students would require in this fellowship? Would you require CV, motivation letter,
Yes.
SOP, something like that?
So when you are pitching a PI, you should attach not just ICGB. It's
Mm.
universal. Even if you're pitching any PI, just attach your CV, a motivation letter, and a project.
Mhm.
It's not like your final project, because I pitched another project and I'm working on something else. But it proves
Mm.
how far you can think. How, if for example, I was working on plants shifting to cancer. What transferable skills I'm bringing from plants to cancer field? For example, in my case, it was microscopy, fluorescence, and confocal. it was transferred well. So that you need. And while you're filling the application form, they will ask your master degree and your CV, your letter of acceptance from the PI, and also letter of recommendations from your previous PI, from your university, right? So you need letter of reference, and tell you what, it makes a difference. Letter of reference always makes a difference.
Okay.
So
I would want
yeah.
to ask one thing that since you said that you have applied to a number of professors, so every time you're applying to a different professors, people often ask me that the CV should be same or they should be changing CV every time they're applying to different professors. The same goes for the project as well. So do you have to modify it every time you're applying to a different professor?
You only have to modify CV if you have additional skills. For example, if you are working and you know, okay, now I can also work on this. For example, okay, now I know I can work on confocal microscope. I can add it to my CV. It can go to the CV. If not, you don't have to modify CV every time. But project proposal, yes, you have to, it should be specific to the PI. It's not like you just randomly emailing to the PI that I read your paper. They read your project proposal, they will read your email. So you have to write, you have to include that what did you read about their lab, what did you read about the paper they are publishing, what is interesting, how can you help in this particular project or on this particular protein. So it really matters. So while you are writing email, just don't mention it if you are not reading any paper from their lab, because while even if you are having a conversation with the PI, they will of course will ask you what did you read, why you like my lab, what is the most important thing in my field of research you like. So
Okay.
it should be specific to every PI.
Okay. So is there any written examination or is there interview specifically taken by the PI, or ICGEB as a whole takes interview? How is it about?
In my case, I had an interview with my PI. So he gave me a letter of acceptance, and then I submitted my entire application with my CV, my motivation letter, and a project proposal, which goes to the application. After that, it is a competition based on number of applications they have. They will select which is more suitable for them. So it's basically, at the end, it comes on your skills. Seriously.
Okay. So ICGEB does not take any interview. I mean, it is all boxed down to the PI. If he decides, he'll take an interview and give you the recommendation letter, right? That is how it goes
Yes,
about.
but
Any
in
entrance exam
ICGB
also?
in ICGEB Delhi, if you are working for ICGEB Delhi, you need entrance exam. Any entrance exam, maybe CSIR, DST, GATE, or UGC. You need that. You need that for
Okay.
ICGEB Delhi, because then you are
Okay.
affiliated to JNU. So you need that entrance exam. But in my case, for Arturo Falaschi Fellowship, you give your interview to your PI. If he likes you, he will give you a letter of recommendation. But that is also not final. It's not like you have a letter, so your fellowship is secured. No,
Yes.
it's like you have a number of applications. With a lot of application comes to ICGB. There is a committee which will go through all the applications, and they will select people from the shortlisted candidates. Let's say.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, could you tell me more about the research that you are doing at ICGB Trieste, particularly your work on HPV oncoproteins and CRISPR-Cas genome editing project? So, could you tell us more?
Yeah. So basically, the human papilloma virus, its most common cancer is cervical cancer
Mm.
in women, and in India it is also a problem right now, because in India there are a large number of cases of cervical cancer. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to work in HPV. So basically, there are two oncoproteins of HPV, E6 and E7, which are majorly responsible for this viral immortalization and malignancy, which is E6 and E7, and they degrade PRB and P53 protein. So my idea was there is a particular protein, E6AP, which it's basically a ligase. So E6 use this ligase to degrade P53. So my
Okay.
idea is if I can mutate this E6AP and somehow prevents the degradation of P53. And
Mm-hmm.
for this, I am using CRISPR-Cas9 technology, genome editing technology. And the other
Okay.
part of my project involves is to identify new protein targets of HPV E6, E7 in different phases of cell cycle, so that I can
Okay.
identify and bring down to a level where we can use it for drug discovery or vaccine development, because not
Yeah.
every HPV subtype have a vaccine for it, and
Mm-hmm.
it is not very specific.
Yeah, that
So
is what I was coming to. I mean, there can be some therapeutic applications to your study also
yes,
later on. Yeah. Good,
yeah.
good, good that you are doing it. So, one question I ask to most of the students, most of the people who come to this Quran podcast is, how different do you find research in Italy than to that of India?
Okay. So environment is very different for sure.
Mhm.
It is. I won't. I mean, I don't want to use the term, but it is less toxic, and you
Mhm.
have a very good exposure, because this is my second year of PhD, and by far I have attended 3 international conferences, and
Okay.
it really help you to shape your project, because whatever you learn from your conferences, for example, in my case, CRISPR-Cas9 is just a basic technique for genome editing.
Mhm.
There are much more advancement now in genome editing, so that's how it keeps you updated. And also you can there is no problem of funds. There
Mhm.
is good resources. You can learn a lot of. Another good factor is independence. There
Yes.
is You can work independently. Nobody is going to stop you. You
Mhm.
work as much as you want. And I find it very different from India. It's not like
Okay.
you are chilling here. I work sometimes from 9 to 7. Sometimes I come to
Mhm.
the lab at 6, but it depends on my work. It depends on
Mhm.
me how far I and timely guidance, which is really very important.
So
And
there is
your work.
no compulsion. That means you have to be on in the lab at 9 a.m. or you have to leave the lab at 5 or 6 only afterwards. Only after that you can come according to your work or your protocol that you have to follow, right?
Usually, of course, the timing is 9 to 5, official timing.
Mm-hmm.
But then in my perception, if you are doing a research and you're
Mm.
completely into it, I don't think so 9 to 5 justifies,
No,
because
no, no.
it literally, if because I run a lot of cell cycle based experiments,
Mm-hmm.
so I have to set up different experiments, different drug treatments. So if I have to
Mm-hmm.
start at 6, I have to start at 6 in the morning, and if it
Yeah.
is ending
Mm.
at 7:40, it will end at 7:40. But in
Yeah.
my case, my PI is so supportive that if I am leaving at late in the night, he will make sure that I'm reaching home safely.
Wow,
And
that's really nice.
the support system you get in this organization, it is really very good. I must say. I mean, I didn't had a PhD from India, but so I cannot comment. But whatever I mean, I don't have a toxic environment even in my internship. To be really honest, my PIs were very good, very supportive. I mean, that's why I am here. But
Mm-hmm.
I can't comment on every lab. Every lab is different. But work environment also depends on your PI, and my PI is very good, so
Okay.
it's fine.
So I would now want to ask, a lot of students ask me this, that when you are going abroad, so what are the challenges or learning experiences that people face, and how do they adapt to research abroad?
See, every place is different. For in my case, it was my first time moving away from my home. I was never away from my home in my entire life, and coming to a different place, it takes time. But and it also depends on the place you are going. Actually, I
Yeah.
am in Italy. People speak English, so
Mhm.
it was not very difficult, and organization is very supportive. So when I was here, they gave me my half of the stipend when I was on my day one, which can help me to manage finances. And
Okay.
of course, environment is different. The weather conditions are different. Initially it is difficult to adapt, but then it happens, and then you are fine. It's not a really big problem. But for example, I was mentioning that for example, I chose the lab which I got in Israel. Maybe because of the language barrier, it might have took me a longer time to adapt to the situation, but it also depends really where you are going. And
So, yeah.
yeah,
So
no,
one
no.
quick question is, yeah, one quick question is that the support or the financial support that you get from ICGB, this fellowship, is it enough to survive in Italy? Do they also give something called HRA like people get in India? How is the, I mean, household managed? That means how do you get a house over there? Do you get it from the university itself, or do you have to look about it by yourself? So, and I mean, are you able to save during your PhD, or it is not very good? I mean, financially, it is not very feasible. How is it all about?
Uh, See, the fellowship I am getting here is more than sufficient in my personal experience, because it covers my house rent and bills, and it covers my personal expenses. So it is
Okay.
sufficient. And for housing, initially, when you get the acceptance letter, they will give you a list of houses which are available in Trieste. In my case, Trieste. So they will give you a list, so you can contact the landlords according to for what if the house is available or no. Or what you can do is you can book a accommodation for 10 or 15 days. There are also hostels, so you can book it and you can find the houses by yourself, because organization will not help you to book a place, but initially they will support you for sure.
Mm.
And expenses are not too high, and also it depends on the city you are living. So I live in
Mhm.
Trieste, so for me the fellowship here is fine, and I'm able to save, so
Okay.
which is good enough for me. And I'm not paying any tuition fees, I'm not paying for any health insurance. It is all covered in stipend. So if you are
Okay.
sick, if you are visiting a doctor, it will all get reimbursed, so which is also a very good thing.
So, do people also do part-time jobs while they are doing their PhD, or they do not have to do it?
No, you don't have to, because I think the fellowship is sufficient, and I don't think
Okay.
so people have time to
Yeah,
really.
definitely. So, coming to the skills that you were talking about earlier in this podcast, what do you think? What are the technical and soft skills that students should focus right from the bachelor's or master's, that if they want to apply to international fellowships like the
Mhm.
one you got into?
Every basic techniques, whatever you are reading in books.
Hmm.
We sometimes we take the practical classes very leniently. It's like, no, but I
That's
think
me.
you should attend them very seriously. Seriously, because what no you can learn very like a lot of things in your graduation and post graduation, very honestly, because in PhD nobody will expect you not knowing how to set up PCR, primer
Mm.
designing, because and it should be included in the curriculum. It's not about student, it's also about the
Yeah.
curriculum which we are getting in our graduation and post graduation.
Yes.
Just learn how to run western blot gels, learn PCR, learn how to plate cells, learn how to
Mm.
extract DNA isolation, primer designing, learn every basic techniques, learn immunofluorescence staining. I mean, it is really basic. It's just you have to plate the cell, you have to probe them with fluorescent label antibody. You don't have to face problem in future. But whatever you are reading in your books, make sure that you know how to apply it practically. Do internships, because you will get a lot of exposure in internships. That's
Yes, the
they,
point
they are
you're,
very
yeah, the
important.
point, yeah, the point that you're making about internship every time is really important. It gives you time to study about the different techniques, practical aspects of different techniques.
Exactly.
Until and unless you do it by yourself, you will not realize that how it is done, and you would not understand the practical implications of that technique.
Yeah.
So I would want to ask, what would you want to say to people who are going to apply to this fellowship? What common mistakes should they avoid while applying to this?
I will suggest one thing, that with your books, start reading research paper or review articles,
Hmm.
because that will really help
Yes.
increase your critical thinking abilities. If you are reading up, I know it's not every student fault, but while you are reading books, you are reading basics about what is, for example, you are reading about DNA, RNA, and molecular biology, the pathways, everything. How are they actually working in the practical world? How they are how, for example, signaling pathways. You are reading about, okay, this is a signaling pathway, JAK-STAT, anything. But you should also know how they act in different cancer. For example, in my field, read papers. So it will help you to think, okay, maybe I can use this technique to identify this problem and to solve it. It will help you to, that's how it will help you to write a project and to pitch to a PI. And you will also know how well you can use the skills you are developing in masters and graduation to solve these problems. So before applying, I mean, why, even if you are applying, read papers first and work on your skills, because it will, even if you are not getting selected, it will still make you stand out. You can apply for project assistant post, and even if you are going there, you are what you are doing. So most of those students, they don't really focus on the practical skills. You need practical skills as well as theoretical knowledge, and how to apply, right? Because if you're just doing experiments, you can't sustain, because you have to think, what I'm doing, if I'm having this problem, how will I troubleshoot it? So you really need a good experience, and it will come with reading. Read research papers with your textbooks. Really, it will really help you.
Correct. So, what are your future plans? I mean, you see yourself in an industry after completing your PhD, or you would want to continue in academia?
For now, I would like to continue in academia, because my personal choices are really research oriented. I mean, academia is not easy, you know it, right? Because if I would like to open my lab, I really need to build my more skills, more knowledge. I mean, this is just the beginning. PhD is just a beginning. It's not another degree, because that's what I would like to say to everyone. There is no defined syllabus for PhD. It's vast.
Correct.
You read more, you will explore more, you will know more. And that's how
Mhm.
I see myself. Like, after my post graduation, postdoc, I would really like to continue in research academia. So let's how it goes. Yeah.
Okay. So, one final question, Cheshta. What would be your message to young life science aspirants who dream of pursuing global research opportunities?
It's not easy, to secure a position, especially at this point of time. But don't get disheartened. You work hard, for sure you will get it. Working hard means you really know how to balance, because I know it is not easy. You are pursuing your studies. With that, you have to put a little bit of extra effort. Start reading papers. You will really enjoy it. You will really love if you see that, okay, I read about this P53 protein, that's how it is acting in cancer, that's how people are using different techniques to detect what are the effects of this particular protein in cancer, that's how they are developing a drug. It will really build your knowledge. Your knowledge will not be limited to just textbooks. You really need more than
Mhm.
that. So I would
Correct.
really suggest that prepare yourself, because not in early stage you will know that, okay, I would like to pursue my research in as my career. I realized it when I was doing my master's internship. So I will not lie, because while I was doing the internship, I realized maybe I can continue research. And that time also I realized I would like to change my field, maybe not in plant microbe direction. I would like to do it in cancer biology. It's
Mm.
okay to change the field. It's okay to start from zero. Nobody is going to judge you. It's your journey and you are answerable to yourself. Just do your best. And don't be
Correct.
afraid of changing skills or people going to judge you. Even if you are from private university, I am from private university, Amity University. People have a perception that student who goes there doesn't study. I'm sitting here. So just
Right. Correct.
ignore everything, work on yourself, which is really important. Just work on yourself, develop skills, read as much as you want, and decide your career. Really.
Great, great. The final points that you made were really spot on. And the point that you have made on the internship, the point you have made on the research skills, the point you have made, the importance of reading research papers are really spot on. Every student should, whoever wants to pursue their career in academia or later on in industry after doing their PhD should pursue these skills seriously, and they will definitely help people in long term. So this is where I would stop this conversation. Thank you so much, Cheshta, for being a part of this UDAAN conversation. I am definitely sure that students would have learned a lot from this particular podcast, and definitely more number of people would be applying to this fellowship this year. I'm dead sure. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
all
much.
of you. We would
Thank you
be
so much.
we would be bringing you another podcast soon with another story
Sure.
and sharing more details. Yeah.